like to welcome Dr. JP to address this audience.
Friends, thank you. I'm actually wondering whether you're all very sensible guys who want to see change in India, or utterly insane guys to come on a Sunday afternoon when the weather outside is so wonderful, the sun is so bright and shining. And I think it's actually a bit of both. Unless you have great insanity, you cannot embark on this enterprise of transformation of a great country, an ancient country, a vast country, a diverse country, in many ways an enough country. But then, every time history changed, it's because of passionate people who never bothered about what many people told them was possible, was practical. Because the practical people never changed history. I cannot think of a single human being on earth who ever changed history by practical means. Margaret Mead from this country, a great anthropologist, once said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed people can change the world." Indeed, that's the only thing that ever did, a small group of thoughtful, committed people. Seeing you all here, I'm absolutely certain we are on course to transforming India. Not alone, but together with hundreds of thousands of people across this great nation, people of Indian origin, across the world, and of course millions of people back home in India. As Vijayanand said, this must be one of the larger gatherings in this country without God, gold, or films. That itself is a tribute. That means we recognize why it's important for us personally, as human beings, collectively, as citizens. Vijay Chava, my friend Dr. Gopal Reddy, Narendra Bakshi, and of course my dear friend and colleague Vijay, they made extremely inspiring speeches. People oftentimes ask me if I'm able to inspire people in the United States on my trip. The answer is no. I'm not inspiring anybody. I am deeply inspired. In these 15 days, the amount of enthusiasm, energy, activity, the deep passion that I've seen from across this country, from people of Indian origin, it inspired me in a way as never before. I came here for inspiration. I did not come here to inspire. You are a source of inspiration. When people like Narendra Bakshi came to this country, probably some 40 years ago, or thereabout, India was still a land of snake charmers and elephants. At that time, people like Srini Madala and many others, they were all, probably they didn't go to college, they probably were not born. Or just about born, they were toddlers. And yet that generation overcame so many hurdles. Racial prejudice, vast distances, a hostile physical climate, a different skin color, difference in religion, in many cases. And yet, all of you together, over the past 40 years or so, have not merely succeeded in surviving. You have not merely thrived. You have become arguably the most successful ethnic community in the world's most successful civilization and the world's mightiest and most prosperous nation. We salute you for that because you have given us pride back home, to a generation or several generations, to a nation that is robbed of its pride and dignity, that is somehow told it's second class, it's inferior. You have given us pride. Today, when the name India is uttered anywhere in the world, it's no longer snake charmers and elephants. It's about people of great brains, considerable ability, and accomplishment. And that is a tremendous source of pride and confidence. Without that, a nation can never move forward. If you think you can, you can do it as a nation. If you think you cannot, you will not be able to do it. It's all in the mind in ultimate analysis. And you have proved that Indians can. And therefore, I am deeply grateful to you and inspired. The role of NRIs in freedom struggle is too well known, and Vijay made a superb point. I thought it was really very inspiring. But that role is not over. Simply because, as we all know, you can take an Indian out of India, but you cannot take India out of an Indian. Even if you are citizens of, let's say, the United States, now that we are here, or some other country, obviously you must be loyal to that flag if you are the US citizens. Even if you are not citizens, you must be loyal to the host country. That's what the Indian ethos is. We always respect the host. We admire the host. We are never disloyal to the host. And it's not disloyalty to this country to be loyal to Indianness, to be loyal to the Indian cause. And happily, right now, both India and the United States have a fabulous relationship, irrespective of which party is in power in the White House or in both houses of Congress. There is a congruence of interests, and therefore there is every reason why we should be loyal to the US flag if you are US citizens, and yet be loyal to the Indian cause without in any way being disloyal to the oath that you have taken as citizen. And if you are Indian citizens, it doesn't take much to persuade you. There is an enormous amount of work to be done. If you look at India today, obviously we made rapid progress. If you think that everything is bad, that will be stupid. Nobody has been sharper about Indian politics and the failings of Indian society than I have been over the past 15 years or so. But that's because we have to address these problems. But if we do not recognize the successes of India, we'd be utterly churlish. Successes over millennia and in the past 60 years. The more I think of it, the more I feel grateful to our ancestors, to our forefathers. India is home to every single ethnic group and religious group throughout history. Not sometime later, not because they came as conquerors, but from the very beginning itself. The Jewish people came to India 2,600 years ago. They have continued there since. Christianity came to India within 50 years after Jesus Christ's crucifixion and resurrection. St. Thomas came to India and then founded the church. The Syrian Christians are the heirs of St. Thomas in Kerala for 2,000 years almost. Before Rome knew what Christianity was, well before Rome persecuted them, and of course later they accepted Christianity, India embraced Christianity. Prophet Muhammad left Mecca on his famous journey to Medina, and from the date in 622 AD, the Islamic calendar begins. Within 90 years from that date,